Good morning everyone. My name is Ghanshyam Chandil and my final year BTech project 2 it was on numerical modeling of enhancement in heat transfer using ionic winds. It was guided by Professor Anandru Bhattacharya. What we did in this project is to mathematically model ionic blowers using computational tools. So what are ionic blowers? To keep it short, ionic blowers are something that accelerates charged particles in an electric field and shoots them out at a greater velocity, thus achieving a propulsion. So the main key points of this study was to build a physically accurate model of EST blowers. Second is to study the trends of heat transfer characteristics versus design and input parameters such as plate gaps, wire distance, and input voltage. The major challenge in this project was to isolate various assumptions which we can use to finally get a solution corresponding to our experiments that are done in high voltage lab. Second was to create a user-defined function for ANSYS Fluent that would incorporate the phenomena of electrohydrodynamics and let us do simulations in Fluent. For various reasons, we found that ANSYS Fluent is not suitable for our case, and thus we choose to move further with COMSOL. And in certain cases where we were not able to find steady-state solutions, we had to use some other method, which was another challenge. This is the main geometry of our problem. This is a zoomed out version of our problem in which this blue boundary is open to atmosphere. This green is ground plane. Towards the center is our main ionic blower, which consists of a ground electrode, which are these rectangles, and positively charged wires that are represented by these dots. Regarding the boundary conditions, the plates were heated or given some amount of heat flux. The wires were insulated, and throughout the domain we enabled Joule heating. That is something which occurs when we that is a type of heating which occurs when we accelerate fluids in an electric field. Now let us talk how the phenomena of ionic winds takes place. When an high voltage is applied around a sharp corner, a strong enough electric field can be generated such that electric field rips apart an electron from a molecule of air. And when that happens, the electron will start migrating towards the positive end, and the positively charged ion will start migrate towards the negative end. And while doing so, the electron may strike with many other molecules in between and ionize them also, as it has already gained some amount of kinetic energy by traveling in an electric field. This results in a nuclear fusion type chain reaction, and it creates a breakdown called avalanche breakdown. But how do we mathematically model this phenomenon? The main idea is to include a volumetric force term in our Navier-Stokes equation. This force is proportional to charge density and electric field. Now we need to calculate this charge density distribution and electric field, using which we can solve our momentum equation. To solve this, we need to solve two coupled equations. One is the species transport equation, and the other is potential means the first equation of Maxwell, also called as Gauss's law in differential form. Let's talk about this charge transport equation first. It is a generic species transport equation in which we have added a drift term which accounts for the drift of electrons in the electric field. Next, we can since we are solving a thermoelectric problem, we also need to solve for energy equation. And when all of this avalanche breakdown happens, a certain amount of heat is generated in our domain, and we can calculate the amount of heat generated using volumetric heat generation term, which is called Joule's heating term, and it is given by this expression. And we can add it as a source term in our energy equation. You can see that all of our equations are highly coupled in nature. The momentum is coupled with charge transport equation, and charge transport is coupled with energy equation, and the energy is again coupled with momentum equations. This creates a very complex problem, and we need certain assumptions using meaning only after which we can solve this complex phenomena. So what we can do is drop this convective heat flux conductive term in the charge transport equation. This is because this drift through electric field is almost 100 times greater than the usual velocities that we encounter in electrohydrodynamic flows. And once we do this, these two equations become independent from the rest of the system. Now we can solve these equations and give the charge density and electric field as input to both of the other equations. Thus we have nicely decoupled our differential equations. To solve these equations, first we introduce all of these modules in COMSOL, create a good enough mesh, and start with initial gas, then apply something called Kapstov's condition that determines how much the charge will be at the equilibrium, and it is given by this equation. So first we give some initial gas of charge density at our wires. We solve for electric field. If it is not equal to this, we run in the loop again and again by changing the gas value, and when that occurs, we give it as input to momentum and energy solver. These are some results that we obtained from our study. this is the temperature and this is the velocity profile for a single plate, and you can see that the amount of current that the wire emits is directly inversely proportional to the distance between the wire and the electrode. And in the second figure, you can see that this blue one is for 10 kilovolt and this red is for 7 kilovolts, and there exists a point somewhere around here after which the electric field is no longer strong enough to ionize the air, and thus the phenomena of ionic discharge stops. And after this, there is no enhancement in heat transfer. As you can see that for 7 kilovolts, the curve asymptotically touches to this dashed line of naturally convected heat transfer flow, and there is no enhancement. Whereas in this 10 kilovolt, the breaking point is not yet reached. So for every wire distance, we see some amount of heat enhancement, and this is usually 200 to 500 percentage of what the usual heat transfer rate is. A general idea for multiple plates is that in natural convection, we see due to buoyancy force some amount of air rises and cools the plate by bringing cold air to the plates. Usually this kind of natural convection for the length scale of few centimeters can only raise the velocity up to a few means a fraction of meter per second, whereas in case of ionic winds it can easily reach up to 2 to 4 or 5 meter per second. You can see here that when we bring multiple arrays of plates, we need to calculate for 3 type of current: one for the center, one for the left, and one for the right. But due to symmetry of the problem, left and right current will be the same, and it is given by outer wires. And here the electric field influences each other, meaning if there is some charge here, it will reduce the electric field in central wire also. And due to this, we can see that at nearly 10 mm distance, the current in the central wire stops because there is already enough charge built in the outermost wires, and this is the corresponding heat transfer rate as we change the wire distance. Next we will talk about 5 plates arrangement. From here to here we have varied the distance from 3 mm to 5 mm to 10 mm, and we can see that when we do this, the maximum velocity decreases. So here it was 6 meter per second, it was 3 meter per second, and here it is only around 1 meter per second. And why this happens is because the charge density decreases. So here it is of the order of 10 to the power minus 3, whereas here it is only of the order of 10 to the power minus 5. So the current decreases, so enhancement in heat transfer also decreases. And these are the corresponding temperature profiles. So you can see here that the thermal boundary layer is very small for this case, sufficiently small for this case, but for the case where the distance is very much such that the inner 3 electrodes are turned off due to influence from the outer electrodes, the thermal boundary layer is highest, and we see least amount of heat transfer in this case. One interesting thing about 5 plates is that there is virtually no difference between the innermost wires and the wires adjacent to the innermost wires. So both of them give a consistently similar curve of current versus wire distance or current versus plate gaps. Even if we have 7 or more plates, we can still reduce the problem into inner and outer plates. These are the corresponding heat transfer characteristics and the reduction in temperature for constant heat flux boundary conditions. And when we change the plate gap, we see an interesting thing that when the plate distance, meaning the distance between 2 plates, it reduces significantly, the heat transfer rate starts to decrease, even though there is some amount of chimney effect. Chimney effect is when the constricted region have more than expected airflow because of contribution from both the ends of the chimney. However, we see here that after a certain distance, the flow is getting choked and the heat transfer rate is decreasing. Final conclusions from the study: after trying for 6 months to make the simulation run in Fluent, we found that it is not very efficient and time consuming, and for various reasons, COMSOL is a better solver for electrodynamic flows. And when one intend to design these kind of flows, there is always a balancing act between chimney effect and choking effect. So we want to keep our plates as close as possible because they will enhance the amount of heat, amount of flow in the chimney channel. But if you bring them too close, there might be some choking, and this point is generally a function of applied voltage and current from the wires. Secondly, open boundary conditions might not be ideal in cases where the electronic chip is placed in a small cabinet. In this case, the heat will build up in the cabinet, and these kind of open boundary conditions might give us overshooting in terms of cooling efficiencies. However, in these cases, it is very tough to get a steady state solution because at our length scale, in such cases, even though the heat transfer rate may achieve a constant value, but the velocity field will show turbulent and transient characteristics forever. So what we need to do in these cases is do a transient simulation and run it for a very long time with a very small time step and average the heat transfer value for a large amount of time, which is around 15 minutes, as we did with our original experimental values, which was done in a cabinet. Thank you. That was all from my side.